Let's talk about the World Health Organization, a guardian angel turned predator. That is the best way to describe the WHO. This is an agency intended to lead the world to make a healthy planet. Instead, it is mired in controversy and petty politics. First, they failed to warn us about the pandemic. It's a story that we've told many times on the show. But think about why the WHO failed. How did they miss all the warnings and signs? Because this is a broken organization. The leadership couldn't care less about what's happening. Thugs and perverts have infiltrated its ranks. And I use my words with care. This is the story that we are telling you tonight about the horrors unleashed by WHO officials in Congo and how Dr. Tedros and his friends were complicit with their silence. The story begins with this man, Boubacar Diallo. He's a doctor from Canada. He was in Congo managing the WHO's campaign against Ebola. The year was 2019. The same year he approached a Congolese nurse with a job offer. Her name was Shekina. Back then, she was working as a nurse's aide in northeastern Congo. Now, this is a region infested with violence and disease. Nurses here are doing God's work, but they're paid practically nothing. So Shekina took up the job offer, and that's when Dr. Diallo started demanding sexual favors from her. Now, this is a classic example of a man misusing his position of power. On one side was Diallo, an influential doctor from the West, backed by the World Health Organization, no less. On the other was Shekina, a nurse who has known nothing but war and poverty. She had no option but to accept.
Crise economic ndio ilikuwaka na nikaangalia iko chef anakuwa na influence mingi nayo kanipuse vile kushena.
The WHO says its motto is to serve the vulnerable. But in Congo 2019, its doctors were preying on the vulnerable. And do not think that Diallo is a one-off case. The WHO has dozens of predators in its ranks. Systemic abuse of women is a pan-organization problem. Here's another example, and this too is from Congo, about a certain Dr. Jean-Paul Ngandu. He impregnated a local woman. He later denied being the child's father. So the woman turned to the WHO for help. Do you know what the organization did? No complaint, no punishment. Instead, they covered it up. The doctor signed a contract with the woman. He promised to pay her $100 per month until the child was born. He also bought her some land. And guess who signed as a witness to this contract? 2 staffers of the World Health Organization, including a manager. So this abusive doctor bought the woman's silence and the WHO signed off on it. And now we come to the most important question. What was the WHO leadership doing? Did they know what was happening in Congo? And if they did, why did they hush it up? In October 2020, Dr. Tedros finally addressed the matter, and this is what he had to say about the reports.
We will not tolerate behavior like this from our staff, contractors, or partners. Anyone identified as being involved will be held to account and face serious consequences, including immediate dismissal.
What did you make of that? Dr. Tedros wants you to believe that he was unaware of these reports and that he wouldn't put up with such behavior. But the truth is something else. The WHO's internal emails and staffers tell a very different story. The leadership was informed of Diallo's misconduct in 2019 itself, and they decided to not take the matter further. Why? Because the agency's reputation was at stake. The same happened with Dr. Ngandu. Look at this email written by a staffer to Dr. Michael Yao. He was the WHO's emergency operations manager at the time, and I'm quoting from the letter, "We cannot afford to have people tarnishing the sweat and effort of individuals sacrificing themselves through inappropriate sexual harassment and bullying." 1 week after this email was sent, the doctor signed the contract. He says his WHO colleagues advised him to settle out of court. The fact is, the World Health Organization is more concerned about optics than justice. They launched an internal probe into Dr. Diallo, but not even one accuser, not a single accuser was interviewed in this probe. Some of the female staffers are losing patience with the leadership. They say that the WHO has ignored sex abuse issues for years. And this is the organization tasked with creating a safer, healthier world. The bottom line is, the World Health Organization needs to change, and it must start with this man, Dr. Tedros. He visited Congo 14 times during the Ebola outbreak. He was good friends with Dr. W.H.O. All of this was happening right under his nose. He did not lift a finger. He says he had no idea. And now he may be planning to seek re-election, another 5-year term at the top. Let me end with this. The current WHO leadership has tarnished the organization. There are no professionals. There is no emphasis on science. Instead, they're playing politics and they're appeasing countries. We criticize the WHO for not protecting us against the Wuhan virus, but the fact is we were hoping for too much. What else can you expect from an organization that protects sexual predators and silences survivors? WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.